Hello everyone, my name is Agent Paul, Mobile Task Force Delta 7, codename Bookkeepers, and welcome back to their SCP document review. And the SCP we're reviewing today is SCP-7014. Level 1 Unrestricted. Containment Class Pending. Assigned Site, Site 55. Site Director, Dr. Don Grand. Research Head, Dr. PaulPer. Assigned Task Force, not available. Special Containment Procedures. There are currently no known methods of containing, negating, or manipulating SCP-7014's influence upon normal probability. However, due to the extremely specific nature of SCP-7014's manifestation and the fact that it does not occur under test conditions, it is extremely unlikely that the general population will become aware of its existence. As an additional precaution, the Disinformation Bureau will continue to promote the notion that dice having personalities is merely a widespread joke amongst the tabletop gaming community and the result of selection bias. Description: SCP-7014 is an apparently anomalous phenomenon which affects the probability of dice results when rolled as a part of a ttrpg, tabletop role-playing game. Individual dice can be affected by SCP-7014 in several ways, including showing a preference for certain numbers or displaying different probability distributions depending on what they are being rolled to accomplish. As far as it has been assessed, SCP-7014 appears to act upon dice exclusively when they are being rolled for a particular purpose within the context of a ttrpg. When the same dice are rolled purely to record the results, those results are typically in accordance with standard probability expectations and show no other anomalous variation. An example of a high roller, or lucky die, has been included below. Test results: Experiment 7014-D20-A190. Methodology: the experiment was carried out using a fair 20-sided die, D20. The die was rolled 1,000 times in test conditions and 1,000 times in a game of Dungeons & Dragons. The latter was purposely representing a series of attacks made against an army of goblins with 1 hit point each. The die was rolled by Dr. Irvale in both cases. Dr. Irvale used a dice cup in both instances. High-speed cameras were used to monitor whether the die moved in any way unusually while being rolled. And here we have a table from 1 to 20 with test conditions and game conditions, and these are in percentages. Instead of repeating them all, I will simply say, for the test condition percentages, it averages out to roughly 5. Game conditions, there is a decreased amount of 1s and lower numbers, and an increased outcome of 14 and up, with the highest being a 7 for 18 and 20 being 6.5%. All die affected by SCP-7014 appear to follow certain patterns of behaviors rather than disrupting probability at random. Testing so far suggests that there are at least 7 distinct categories of affected die. At present, these categories have not been formalized and represent a working hypothesis only. Here are the categories of SCP-7014 affected dice. Here we have the type and description. High rollers, dice which have a higher probability of rolling results that are above their median value. Low rollers, dice which have a higher probability of rolling results that are below their median value. O reliables, dice which have a favorite side. The probability of rolling that result is significantly higher than normal, while the chances of landing on any other side are roughly equal. Shy guys, dice which have an increased probability of low rolls at the start of a game, but shift to an increased probability of high results the longer the game goes on. Specialists, dice which will display apparently normal properties until a certain in-game condition is met, which will cause the dice's probability to shift. For example, D20-A068 has a significantly increased chance of rolling a high number when attempting to attack Mind Flayers in Dungeons & Dragons. Loyalists, dice which have a higher probability of rolling results that are above their median value so long as they are rolled by a specific person. When anyone else rolls them, their anomalous properties cease to function. Traitors, dice that seemingly wish to harm the player character, PCs. They have a higher probability of rolling results that are below their median value when rolled by an ordinary player, but a higher probability of rolling results that are above their median value when rolled by a Games Master or Dungeon Master. Addendum. Interview Log. SCP-7014-A1 on July 31st, 2022. Interviewee, Dr. Paul Ervale. Interviewer, Dr. Uma Sain. Forward. The following interview was to ascertain the level of progress that had been made by Dr. Ervale and his team into the study of SCP-7014, and to assess whether maintaining this level of research was the best possible use of Foundation assets and resources.
Alright, it's on. Progress report interview regarding study of SCP-7014 phenomenon, yada yada yada.
So, is this the bit where you bang your fist on the table and tell me I have 24 hours, or am I off the case?
Oh, you heard?
Well, not exactly. It was more of a guess. The comments on our data submissions have been a little, less than flattering of late, and we don't usually have talks this formal for a progress report that I could send over email. Not that it would say very much at the moment.
That is sort of the problem.
Yes, I gathered.
Paul, look, this isn't coming from me. It's just that some of the higher-ups are getting a little bit angsty that they're, just paying you and a bunch of researchers to play Dungeons and Dragons every day.
It is necessary for the tests.
I told them that.
And it's not like the amount of dice we have to roll, we get much time to actually enjoy the games.
I told them that too.
And anyway, my group has moved on to Pathfinder now.
Is there any difference?
Oh yes, very much so. Pathfinder 1st Edition was based on D&D 3.5e, but mechanically, there are actually quite a lot of differences, especially between Pathfinder 2e, which is what we're using now, and the modern D&D 5e. Personally, I think a lot of people just default to D&D because it's the one that gets shown in media all the time, but honestly, I think Pathfinder has a lot more depth to it, and a much stronger combat system. Plus, Wizards of the Coast aren't exactly the nicest of corporations. Not that I can talk exactly working here, but...
What I actually meant, Paul, is there any difference in SCP-7014's effect using a different game?
Oh, right, of course. Yes, I mean, no, sorry. Not a lot. So far, all tests have shown near identical probability distributions.
I see. Well, data is still data, I suppose. It's something to put in the report.
Look, I am sorry, Uma. I know that you're aiming for something a little higher up the promotions ladder, and this project isn't exactly, 05 level stuff. Goodness knows we need more people like you at the top. You shouldn't have gotten stuck with us.
Oh, it's certainly not you. This project, though, it's honestly so annoying. It should be an exciting area of research, This is a global anomaly that alters one of the foundational laws of our universe. It completely violates our current understanding of reality. It should be a big-ticket item, but it only seems to affect how dice roll in a children's game. Like it was designed specifically to spite me.
TTRPGs are actually mainly marketed towards adults.
Right, of course, sorry.
I mean, children can certainly play, but usually you'd have to simplify the rules for them because... never mind. Anyway, how long do we got until they pull the plug on us?
Downgrade the project's priority, I imagine. They won't completely abandon it, not while we still have no idea what's going on. And I don't know. They didn't say. I don't suppose by any chance you're on the verge of a major breakthrough?
Not as far as I'm aware. Sorry.
Pity. Are you any closer to determining what SCP-7014 actually is? You know how much they hate things being left under pending.
Not as much. I have 3, I wouldn't want to call them theories. I don't think I'd even want to call them hypotheses, but I have 3 working guesses at the moment.
Go on.
Number 1, this is just a random secondary effect of some other anomaly we haven't discovered, or a quirky byproduct of some group or other messing around with something they shouldn't.
Very helpful.
I thought you liked that one. Maybe gamers against weed have started binge-watching Critical Role? Who knows?
And your second idea?
Are you familiar with the meta-science of belief?
It sounds like a cult.
No. It's a set of theories about how human belief, or sapient belief, I suppose, might shape the reality around us.
Faith moving mountains?
Well, yes and no. It's more things like pataphysics, living stories, conscious dreams, demons and divinities, those kinds of entities. The theory basically goes that when we believe in a thing, talk about the thing, tell stories about a thing, we are bestowing it with some sort of degree of reality. We give it a shape, a presence. And it's certainly uncommon for anomalies to stumble out of the human mind. Hell, Site-171 is built around a self-declared earth god and a rock pillar who claims he was worshipped into being.
Alright, so?
So, answer me this. Why do these entities have to be in monoliths and books and creepy statues? Why couldn't they be, say, little plastic polyhedrons? What if over years and years of people begging dice for the results they want, offering up prayers to RN Jesus? Dr. Irville makes air quotes. Even as a joke, what if we made those dice into something more? After all, it does only work when we want to play with them. Doesn't it remind you a little of a double slit experiment? If observation can alter probability and reality on a micro level, then why not believe? It would make perfect sense why they would show a standard probability distribution under test conditions. I mean, no one's ever earned for a die to hit a nat 20 when it's being rolled to collect scientific data.
Okay, Albite, that's interesting. That's very interesting, actually. Do you have any evidence for this?
None at all, naturally.
Oh, I was getting kind of hopeful there.
Sorry about that. We've had the dice investigate for any signs of life. Psychics, mind readers, empaths, absolutely nothing.
Damn. And the third idea?
That one's my favorite. Idea 3 is that there are just some nerdy extra-dimensional beings out there who really like ttrpgs. Dr. Erdo claps his hands together in a mock prayer and turns his eyes to the ceiling. Praise be unto thee, O dice gods, forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you for taking this so seriously.
My pleasure.
I suppose there is still one other possibility you haven't mentioned.
Oh, what's that?
That all of this is just one big coincidence.
Quite unlikely, I think.
But still hypothetically possible. I mean, you were the one who brought up the double slit experiment. If the simple multiverse theory is correct, and every possibility happens somewhere, then at least one universe would have to have every single dice fall just the way they have here purely by chance. It could be that we're hanging out at the far end of a weird-ass probability curve, and all the work you've done means absolutely nothing.
Well, gee, thanks for that, Dr. Uma.
You're most welcome.
You know, sometimes I really hate this job. Dissecting the unholy secrets of the universe is all fun and good, but it would be nice if you could flip to the back of the textbook now and just take a peek at the solutions.
Chin up, Doctor. As you say, it's quite unlikely. I mean, honestly, what are the chances?
End log. Well, everyone, that's it for this one. Apparently, dice are not rolling by standard probability when playing tabletop games. Interesting. I might have to take up Dr. Bright on the offer to play some Dungeons & Dragons this Saturday. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening and watching. And my name is Agent Paul of MTF Delta 7, and I'll see you next week with another document review. Bye. Hey guys, this is Paul after recording. I'm very happy there are so many DICE SCPs and SCP-7000 numbers. It's because SCP-7000, there was a contest and everyone made probability and luck SCPs. And so many people did DICE probability. And this one, it literally talks about how DICE have personalities and that there's a chance of DICE like not only rolling every number 5% of the time. And I love it. This is wonderful. This SCP is up there with some of my favorites now. So if you haven't yet, go check out SCP-7014 on the wiki. This SCP was made by Uncanyon. Go check it out, give them a rating. This is a good SCP. Love it. Good length and plenty of fun to read. Alright, I'm going to pull the veil back. Next week it'll be just Agent Paul. And I will see you all later. Bye.